Guys, welcome back to Boosted Gaming. So we're going to be bringing you another Division 2 video here. So this one here is going to be our ultimate shield build for Boss 3 on the Iron Horse raid. All gold build. A lot of people are going with their Foundry Bulwark builds. However, since the nerf, we've been trying to find better ways to stay alive, stay up, and be able to tank that boss while the rest of your team is doing tons of damage, right? So that's what this build is for. This is the ultimate shield build. You guys will not find a better build anywhere. This one will keep you alive all the way through the boss fight and allow you to potentially get that key all the way up to the 3rd level, so that way you guys can finish off the mission. So as you can see here, we're going to start off, we have the Firewall Specialization. Primarily because this Firewall Specialization also brings you mods for your shield, right? So we'll get into that in a little bit here. As you can see, I went with a SIG 556. It's one of my favorite weapons these days. This one here, I've got to roll some health damage into it, but other than that, it's not too bad. It's got Ignited on it, which is great because you're going to have a guy with hopefully a CC build, your Eclipse Protocol with a Vial Mask, doing all kinds of burn damage, right? Link to my video of my Eclipse Protocol build down below. As you can see here, we have the Ravenous. This is really just an additional thing here, so we can get additional damage to enemies, as well as getting some additional shield, additional armor, right? And that's ultimately what this is going to be for. That's all I use it for, but other than that, it's just any secondary is fine, really. I will see that a lot of people will throw on an LMG or something like that, but it's all whatever you want to run. I choose to run my Ravenous. As my pistol here, we're using the fire starter. So the reason we went with the fire starter is because you can't use anything other than pistols typically when you have the bulwark shield out, right? So your full shield, your full front shield. So this is going to be best for your team because every time you hit this enemy, you're going to drive in primer rounds, and they lose 50% of their burn resistance for 5 seconds, which is playing key. So every 5 seconds, they're losing that 50%, allowing you guys to do that much more damage. All right, so first piece that we're going to get into here is the mask. It's a 511 mask. Not god rolled in any way. Close, but, you know, as always, you got to kind of work with what you're given. So as you can see here, we've got a ton of armor. We got some hazard. We got some health. I do have a protection from Elites mod in there. And you can see the 3-piece bonus because we are running 3 pieces of 511, so you get 10% health, 20% incoming repairs, and then an additional 10% hazard. Incoming repairs are great if you have somebody on your team that's acting as a healer. If you don't, it's okay. This build will allow you to stay up without a healer should you need to. As you can see here, we went with the Point Man chest piece. It's got rolled armor onto it max. It's got hazard. It's got weapon handling. I would have preferred to have health here so we can maximize our survivability. But at the same time, you know, this is unfortunately what it came with. And as you guys know, the talent is Perfect Vanguard. So deploying your shield makes it invulnerable for 5 seconds and grants half of whatever you've got armor-wise to your teammates for 20 seconds, which is huge in this raid, right? We want to give our guys as much armor as we can. Hopefully you can get one of these chest pieces, but all blue. I'm currently in the hunt for mine. And as you can see, we're actually running a 2-piece Gila Guard. So our second piece of Gila Guard, you can see here, not only gives us health, but the first piece gives us 5% additional armor. So, well, total armor. Getting into the holster, you can do a couple different things here, right? So I chose to go Golan just because I don't care about the status effects, but I wanted the max armor, I wanted the max health, and I wanted a hazard protection roll as high as I could get it. So you could opt for the Forge, where you get incoming repairs. However, it's going to drive your armor down a slight bit, right? So it's going to give you 1.7 million armor roughly, especially if you run the health roll on it. It does give you additional 50% shield health though, so this is something to consider for this build. But I'm going to tell you why I opted to just keep it as a Golan piece when we get down to our skills. Our other piece of 511 here is our backpack. So you're going to see we have a max armor roll, decent hazard roll, full health roll, and we got some bleed resistance in there because you never know when you might be bleeding. So galvanize. So apparently galvanized, like I usually run opportunistic, right? So I've always run this backpack here with opportunistic, because opportunistic allows you to proc additional damage. We've tested this out, and any time that there's a status effect close to an enemy, regardless of if you've procced it or not, you're actually giving 40% of your armor as bonus armor to allies within 20 meters of that enemy. So for the most part, you're constantly giving your team an additional 40% armor. This has been tested in the raid. It does work. Even though you might not be proccing it, it is working. So Galvanize is actually a pretty good talent if you want to just keep giving your team armor. So it's a constant armor regen essentially that they're getting, especially if you got that guy with a very good Eclipse Protocol build. This is going to make some huge differences. The next piece we have here is the 511 gloves. Again, max armor, max health. I would have preferred to have hazard here instead of armor regen, just to round out our overall hazard. With this rolled at hazard, we would have had 100% hazard, which would have been ideal. But at the same time, it's okay. I mean, it is what it is. Getting into our last piece, we have our Gila Garnies. And you can see max armor, max hazard. Not the best health roll, but I mean, not terrible. Again, another thing I would have rather have seen a full health roll so you can maximize your blues, right? Essentially, we wanted this to be an all blue build. Why? Survivability. But let's get into our skills. So obviously here we have the Bulwark Shield. And because it's an all blue, we get skill tier with both blue and yellow because it's the Bulwark, right? So we get up to skill tier 6, which is great because we get active regen, we get shield health, we get holstered regen. And then we also get, because it's level 6, we're getting all that extra stuff there, right? But even though we're skill tier 0, right? No yellows whatsoever. So our shield is max skill tier. However, our booster hive is not max skill tier. But with the recent changes to the actual bulwark, to not the shield, but to the actual booster hive. So with the recent changes, they've actually made this a little bit better because now you're actually going to be getting not just weapon handling, not just melee damage, but you're also getting hazard protection, right? So you can look at our buff amount. So we'll just round it. We'll say 22% for that buff, right? With our booster hive. That's a skill tier 0. Okay. Now, if we come in here, and again, we're not worried about our red stats because we're not meant to be anybody doing damage. We're meant to just be, we're the tank. We're the guy taking the beating, right? So if you come down here and you're gonna see our incoming repairs is at 40. So if you have that healer, he's gonna be dropping you lots of incoming repairs, lots of heals. So you're gonna be able to heal your shield and keep your armor up. It's not gonna affect your health, but it will affect that. We have our 12% protection from elite mod, just giving us that, right? But now look down here. So now we've got 69% roughly hazard protection. So, we'll just say 68. Forget the 0.4. 68% hazard. We got 78% bleed. So as soon as we drop our booster, we're going to be getting an additional 22%. So now we're like, okay, wait a minute, 22%. So now we're at 90% overall hazard. And every single time your booster hive hits you, right? Every time one of those stimulants hits you, it's actually going to cleanse the actual status effect. So when you've got that chem on you from the boss is firing that chem at you, right? Every time your booster hive launches a drone and it hits you, it cleanses you of that status effect. Your health is no longer taking a hit, right? So now all you're focused on is, okay, cool, let me just stand here and take the beating. He's going to focus you. Guess what? You're never going to go down. The only way you're going to go down is if your team can't clear the ads that might be threatening your survivability, right? You're not going to go down from his chem, that's for sure. You're at 90% hazard. And because it's a booster hive, it's going to increase the actual rate at which you get those actual charges back. So you're going to get that back fairly quickly, which means every time you drop it, you're just going to keep cleansing yourself every single time, right? So guys, this build here, ultimate shield build for boss 3, without a doubt. All right, 3-piece 511, a 2-piece Gila, and then if you wanted to go Forge, you could for the shield health. I really wouldn't be probably using it for much else. And if you were to go Forge, if you were to drop the Forge on here, right, if you were to equip that and you were to come to your booster, you'll see you went from 22% to 28.5 for your buff amount. Well, that just means that your overall hazard has now gone down by 10%, but you've only gained 7% or 6%. You've gained 6% buff amount, but you've lost 10 on your hazard. Well, you know what? I'd rather keep as much hazard as I can, because guess what? That booster hive at 22% is going to put me right at 90. So personally, I think all blue is going to be the play. I will be testing this thoroughly myself. Like I said, I've been told that the Galvanize has been working that way, where it doesn't matter if an enemy's got some kind of a status effect and you're close to it, you're automatically granting armor to your teammates within 20 meters of that enemy. So anytime you see that, the Galvanize is just proccing. So it's a constant proc for your team. They're constantly getting 40% bonus armor without you having to even be doing anything. They're just going to be getting it. So yeah, guys, that's the build. Thank you for joining me. Really appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You know, check me out for more content. Share this page with your friends if you like what you see. I do try to go live as often as I can. I know we will be raiding tomorrow. I should be live at that time as well. I got some new things set up for the actual stream that ought to be kind of interesting and fun. So hopefully you guys can tune in for that. It's probably going to be around 3 o'clock Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to check with my team. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining me today. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.